Welcome to the second episode of Nightcall. I got to drive around a lot of very strange passengers, I got to learn a little bit more about the character that I was playing as, and I got to pick out a prime suspect with the newfound evidence that I was able to learn in this episode. And worry not, there is not so much screaming and raising my voice this episode. However, there are still some very passionate characters in this episode that had quite a lot to say. That being said, I had quite the time recording this second episode, and I hope you have quite the time watching it. So sit back, relax, enjoy what lies ahead, and I will see you later. All right. We are back. Back at it with another one. In Nightcall, trying to figure out who the fuck murdered our shit, who also just so happens to go by the name of the judge. Okay. So, a little thing I misunderstood last time was that I read a sentence from last video that I didn't really understand. The sentence was something like, the possible suspect might not be the one with the... I'm sorry if I fluctuate between being quiet and loud, I just move around a lot. The sentence was something like, the suspect might not be the one with the most evidence against them, but the one with the most compelling evidence against them. I thought it meant the one... I read it as they may not be the one with the most evidence against them, but the one with the most evidence against them. So, but I see now that means that it doesn't matter, or rather, sometimes it's not the suspect with like the most amount of evidence, but the one who seems the most compelling, by trying to make it make sense. So, we have the board here that has all of this stuff. So let's see what we know for sure. Okay, so everyone here is less than 6 foot. We have Claudia, who's a medical examiner in Paris, who escaped from Argentina when she was young and lost her parents to the Argentinian junta in the process. Perot, who's a cop. His dad was a cop. He was a cop who was in financial affairs. He died 2 years ago. Mom got health issues after Richardson health scandal, and he's in a relationship. But he's gay and he's never disclosed this information at work. Paul's a retired cop, joined the police in 1977, divorced from a judge, born in the French Antilles, moved to the mainland France in 1976. Perv, I think his name is. Homeless man with an unknown background, briefly worked for Charles Bugrain, victim 2 in the 90s, got health issues after Richardson health scandal and a couple of arrests for breaking and entering. And Salim, who we just met from last episode. He's a lawyer who's defending on the Dower case, defender of several molested kids in poor neighborhoods, was a promising football player when he was 10. So the one who has the most compelling evidence right now is actually Salim, or the most amount is Salim. He's investigating the first 3 victims. I don't necessarily know why this is a message on crime scene 1 justice. Oh, I guess matches up with him because he's a lawyer. And he's shorter, and he's around. He's the height of the killer, or he could be the killer. However, killer knew the victims or researched them. This is not yet discovered. This is a fact that none of them match up with, I don't think. Victims killed with 1 bullet in the neck. Killer left message in shock on the first 3 crime scenes. Death equals execution. No sign of violence. I mean, do we have other? We don't have any other documents. This is all we've managed to gather. We need to understand the motive, or I need to understand the motive of why this killer's out here. They're called the judge, but I have no idea why. So let's just end the night, and maybe we'll figure out more as we go along. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You slowly open the sofa bed and lie down. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Oh, that was it. I thought there would be more, I won't lie. You open one eye. Your back aches. You'd like to close your eyes and go back to sleep. You get up quickly, and a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 2. Oh boy, that's a lot of people. Okay. Listen to radio? What does that cost? Your finger is poised in front of the car radio. You're trying to find something to listen to. The news? You happen upon the nighttime news. In a vox pop about the judge, a bystander brings up the fact that the police have still not arrested the homeless man seen near the crime scene. You raise an eyebrow at this bit of news. You didn't know that. As soon as the news is over, you turn the radio off so that the cab is silent again. I've got plenty of gas still, methinks. Whoa. I apologize if the audio went crackly there. That happened on my end as well. Let's investigate this eyeball thing. I'm gonna assume this probably means like a point of interest. So let's see what that's all about. You park a few streets away from the Argentinian embassy. You wait there for your contact. You sigh. It seems so odd to have a contact. So excessive. The guy is one of your regulars, poker buddies, a night watchman at the embassy. You get out of your taxi and walk towards the big middle gate. Clean lines, early 20th century, maybe. Lots of wrought iron. The gate opens and someone moves toward you. They indicate you should follow them. The person's face is hidden by an oversized hoodie. Your heart starts beating faster. What if it was... Who are you? It's me, Jamie. You're David's buddy. You immediately recognize his accent. I don't know what Argentinian. I have no idea. I'm not even gonna attempt it. You don't feel like you're in any danger and decide to follow him. You walk into a narrow, covered passageway, probably the entrance to a parking garage. The man turns around and lights up a cigarette. The lighter lights up his face for a second. A young man with curly hair, pale skin. He looks young. Very young. What does an Argentinian accent sound like? Is it just like kind of Latin sounding? That'll be 250 euros. What? You want information on Gorodischer? I got info on Gorodischer, and it'll cost you 250 euros. So what'll it be? Bargain. He raises his hand in front of his chest. His accent becomes stronger. No. It's 250 euros or nothing. If someone learns I fished around, they'll fire me on the spot. Fine. For that price, you hope the intel is good. You pay. Listen up, because I'm not gonna say it twice. Gorodischer is definitely a colonel from the junta, one of the few who wasn't arrested and put on trial. He is responsible for torturing dozens of political opponents. He tortured and killed them. You know, we don't like him much here, but the rich Argentinians in Paris love him. They really respect him. Is that all? I read in the newspaper that the killer wrote a message in shock. Time's up. It was a slogan at the end of the junta. A sort of watchword from the opponents. It was time for them to go. You get it? You nod. A second later, you're back in your taxi, with a hole in your wallet, but with new information on one of the victims. If you follow this lead, maybe your investigation will move forward. You start the car and get back to your shift. I think we read something along the lines of like one of the passengers, a woman, being responsible. Or, not responsible, but being a survivor. Oh, it's this lady. Why not? Oh. The passenger who's entered your cab slams the door and stares at you intently. Can I help you? I don't know yet. Although the real question is, how can you help yourself? Do we know each other? She gives a sour laugh. Don't play innocent with me. If I were to say to you, her voice is slightly raspy with an oddly metallic sound, October 27th. That's the date. The night of the attack. The night you... Could this woman be the judge? 10:46 p.m. No, the attack took place later. Does that ring a bell? You nod your head. Answer. Yes, it does, miss. Don't you miss me! Not another word! She waggles an accusing finger at you. Last October 27th, you were in this very cab, driving a fare, and you committed a crime. That's right, sir! A crime! Let her go on. I'd spend the whole day working like an idiot for that rotten newspaper. Do you have any idea what I do for a living? I didn't know that it was going to be on that side, my bad. Did you say teacher? The idea seems practically shocking to her. Her voice takes on a sour note. I'm a sub-editor, Mr. Taxi driver. I correct mistakes that a bunch of moron journalists make. There isn't a single one, not one, who knows how to write a proper sentence. I'd had it, really had it, and on the night of October 27th, you cut me off. I almost died that night. She grinds her teeth. You shudder. I crashed my car. My boyfriend's car, that is. The same guy who made yet another comment about women drivers. The neighbors called the police that night. I made such a scene. To think the guy dares call himself a feminist. She pauses for dramatic effect as a disturbing smile spreads over her face. Her voice is suddenly noticeably quieter, almost fragile. The next day, no more boyfriend, no more car. I messed up a job interview with a major news outlet, a paper where people know how to write, where they follow basic rules of French grammar. Imagine for just a minute, I could have stopped correcting copy for a bunch of morons. She takes a deep breath. But all because of you, because of your cab, everything changed the night of October 27th. A sad, faraway look comes over her. My life has never been the same since. But her voice is bursting with fury and hatred. Forced to go live with my mother while I went apartment hunting in this rotten city where tiny studios cost an arm and a leg. So I started looking for you. The back of your neck breaks into a sweat. You can feel cold, clammy droplets about to drip down your spine. I started asking around. I bribed one of your colleagues into giving me your number. A droplet of sweat starts sliding down your back. Then I found your address. Your first one, that is. You shiver as the drop reaches your boxers. Ugh! But that's your business. What matters is I did eventually get your other address. The real one. The droplet has reached your tailbone. You started shaking. At first, I admit, I was planning on... Goddammit. My bad. She shrugs her shoulders. Her voice has softened a little. Just maybe to spit in your face or something like that. And then I thought to myself, no, Ludwine, Maybe the guy deserves a chance. You never know. Sorry, I had to burp. So you're going to apologize. Go on. Give it your all. Take your time. Take a deep breath. She breathes in deeply, then exhales. Like that. I'm truly sorry. I don't remember what happened that evening. I put your life in danger. Sorry for everything that happened. Your car, your ex, the job. Sorry. Shit. She heaves a sigh, dispelling her anger all at once. Was that the real you speaking? Her voice has slowed down. It was... A smile lights up her face. It was exactly what I needed to hear. And thinking about it for months, going over and over it, every second of the accident, telling myself it could have been different, less complicated. Less, well, you know. Actually, I don't. She nods her head. It doesn't matter. Thanks. All her anger has evaporated. No more looks that could kill, simmering rage or grinding teeth. My boyfriend was a jerk anyway. And then, this job. Maybe it wasn't so great. She gives you a little smile. I tend to get all worked up about things. You'd noticed. And sometimes I take things a little too far. That too. In Paris, I guess we were quick to forget about being nice to each other. About being polite, and for a taxi driver, you're a real sweetheart. She gives a short laugh. This is what I suggest. I'm going to exit the cab. I'm going to go for a little walk in the cold to get my mind off things. I have to learn to... Her voice falters. Manage my anger. It's eating me up. She shakes her head, and then without another look your way, goodbye. The door opens, then closes. You're alone in the taxi, your head spinning slightly as if you had a drink, just one, but something really strong. You briefly try to remember that night. Nothing. Nothing but a vague impression of something behind you, the killer's silhouette, a fleeting presence. You shake your head. There's nothing more than before. If only you turned around, everything would have been nicer. If you had seen the face of... All at once, you start the cab.